Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back here with another video, and finally, welcome to fourth. I've got the right title in. Welcome to the fourth and final part of Celtic Rangers. I know it was the game was yesterday, and I talked about how celebrating winning. I celebrated by having a Coca-Cola, that is, with my dad, and yeah, watched the game together. It was pretty cool. My mate was so short, but unfortunately, he wasn't feeling too good, so he overslept and he forgot to phone me. But yeah, hope everyone's well out there. And yeah, I was a bit frustrated just before I made this because I'm running behind schedule as per usual. But also, I was thinking about all my stuff that I've made on Facebook and things like that. But with my profile being deleted, I hope I can get that back. Otherwise, I wasted all that stuff that I did. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess they say. But yeah, the reason why I was frustrated mainly as well is because I did a profile, and then by mistake, instead of pressing go live, I accidentally put retake thumbnail, and I didn't actually want to do that. So I took it back again because for some reason, I don't know why, I thought it'd be intriguing to show my two phones in the thumbnail. That'd be my ass. I might have got two phones. Maybe I should hide that information. But anyway, I did also want to get the Batman in the background, Batman and Catwoman, as I showed in a few earlier videos, but I don't think I'm going to leave it on there because I don't want it to fall off this settee. I might take it somewhere else with it. But I hope it makes a good backdrop for the video. Sorry, I'm sort of blocking it. But anywho, I've got to admit, I haven't really planned this out as well as I'd like. But yeah, I'm a bit frustrated about that. I clicked retake the thumbnail rather than go live. There's a couple of times we've done that now. But anyway, hope everyone's well wherever you are. And it's first world problems. I was thinking, even football, I know I mentioned it before, but in football they might say it's first world problems, but it is quite important to me. Not as important as my cat and my family generally, cat included. I think my cat is the most important thing, pretty much one of the most important things, considering I wasn't a cat person before I got cats. But anyway, yeah, these are points number 31 to 40. Sorry, no, I'm waffling. When I went to stay with my sister, I know I've talked about this before, but when I went to stay with my sister for a while in Nottingham, her cat sat next to me, and then when I stayed at her house and slept at her house, and then the cat came into my room to make sure I was all right. I think the cat could sense I was a bit nervous because I did this thing where I'm sure it's happened to many people where you wake up and you don't know where you are. I'm supposed to be here, but I don't know why. I started going through an existential crisis. I was like, what's going on? And I think the cat could sense my nerves, but I worried that I didn't want to kick the cat when I was trying to sleep. So it was a bit, took me a while to realise where I was and all that kind of thing. So, and then when the cat came to stay at my house, unfortunately that cat's now passed away, but when the cat came to stay at my house, she went into my room a few times and she went and stay with me. But now, normally I don't let anyone in my room because of my hoarding, but now I sometimes let this guy next to me, but he's there sleeping unsafe. Stay in my room. But anyway, I've gone way off track, I know, sorry. On to the topic at hand. So here goes. So number 31, I'll say these are points number 31 to 40. And I talked about this picture behind me. I wonder if you can give me any advice on that, if you think anyone would buy this as a collector's item and how much they'd be prepared to pay. In my next video, or in the future, if you want me to, I can bring it closer so people can see it a bit more closer. I'll be prepared to sign it and put my initials M.K.S. on it, and it would go to any money I make would go to charity, like the Rare Gem School I support in Kenya, or something like that, or a hub, trying to fundraise for a hub, let's say, if I get enough money to sort of support neurodivergent entrepreneurs and that kind of thing, whether that's in Britain or anywhere else in the world. Or something like that. I'd love to know what sort of charity you think would be worthy of supporting, and especially from Celtic sports, I'd love to know what charities Celtic sports out there support, and what you think the club should support, what the Celtic Foundation should support, especially from Celtic sports, but even people generally. But yeah, I hope this victory, this 3-1 victory over the Rankers, as I say, good enough. Thinking 3-1, 31 backwards, pounds out, but I hope this victory will be the kickstart to the rest of our season. If our game beforehand rather wasn't hope under Martin O'Neill, and maybe whoever we get as next manager can help us to kickstart the rest of our season and go on a really good run and hopefully win not one, not two, but 3 trophies. But moving on, number 32. I was going to say it's in point number 31, but I think the video was going on long enough, so I thought I'd move on to number 32 and say, well, one thing I wanted to say, I'll say that in point number 33 actually, but I put some quotes in the description, so I was thinking like things like people say like, if you don't buy the ticket, you can't win the prize. If you don't buy the ticket, there ain't no way you're going to win the prize. And I was thinking of a quote when we were 1-0 up in the game. I wanted to type it on my phone, but for some reason I couldn't get access to the internet. Whereas my sister said this phone is supposed to go on the internet at all times, but unless there's something I'm supposed to press or whatever. But I didn't get the Wi-Fi, I suppose maybe that's what I needed. But I'm sure she said it works all the time. This phone is set on a certain contract, which is a nice surrender. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to type this up because I was hoping someone would read it and it would inspire them. But I was thinking of a quote by Alf Ramsey, who was the England manager, for those who don't know, when England won the World Cup in 1966. I'm a big fan of Italian football, so that wouldn't affect me, but I knew it way before I was born. But I'm not that patriotic to Britain. I'll go a bit generally, although there are good things about Britain, I will say. But anyway, he said something like, we've won this game before, now we just got to go and do it once more. And I was thinking that's what Celtic needed to do, and hopefully that will inspire Celtic to think that if we're behind, we're just going to keep going. Or if we take the lead and we lose the lead, we're going to go back and win it back again. And I thought we could have done better at winning the ball back. Could have been a bit quicker at moving the ball, a bit quicker at getting the ball in the box. Our passing could have been a lot better, a bit sharper and all that kind of thing. So I hope for the rest of the season we do all that sort of stuff. But I was thinking of quotes like, at the time I wasn't, but just recently I thought like, I'd say if you don't shoot, basically, you can't score goals, win games. If you don't buy the ticket, ain't no way you're going to win the prize or prizes. It's amazing what you can do when you shoot, and all these sorts of sayings. If you take a shot, it's amazing what you can do if you cross the ball in from a corner, and if you take a shot like Conor McGregor did. I know he can thunderbolt them from outside the box, but sometimes we're trying to walk the ball in, and someone just take a shot, see if it can maybe hit a player's hand or take a deflection or whatever. If you get it relatively on target, I think we need a lot of shooting practice as well. But yeah, if you get it on target, you've got a chance. If you buy the ticket, you might win the prize. If you shoot your shot, you might get somewhere, you might get lucky, whatever. He says, even though I'm quite shy, reserve guy, believe it or not, in real life, or generally speaking, or whatever. But yeah, I thought we could have been sharper at getting the ball in the box again. If you cross the ball, we scored from a corner, which was something I was thinking about before the game. Like, imagine if we actually scored from a corner. We scored from a shot outside the box. I was thinking, like, what if someone actually takes a shot, takes a chance, instead of just keep passing the ball and passing the buck or whatever. So even in this game, it was like that. But I was thinking under Brendan Rodgers, I didn't get to watch many of the games, but people were saying that he wasn't getting, like, in corners, we just weren't crossing it and all that kind of stuff. When we scored from a corner today, we wouldn't have got that goal had we not just got the ball straight into the box. If Callum McGregor hadn't took that shot, we wouldn't have scored. And the cross that came in led to the third goal. A cross that came in, so I was thinking, like, you cross the ball. It's amazing what you can do when you get the ball in the box, especially on corners and crosses, throw-ins and things like that. We had a player long throw-ins and things like that, like Rory Delap or something like that. For those who follow soccer, for those who don't, I appreciate you watching my videos even more, perhaps, in a way. Although I appreciate everyone equally who watches my videos, but especially those who watch them the most. But yeah, to get the ball in the box, to get crossing in the box, get set pieces in the box, and try and mix it up. And again, there could be a lucky deflection, there could be a goalkeeper mistake, there could be a defensive mistake. Like we scored a goal when it was offside, unfortunately, that was a defensive mistake. Or whatever, but we could put panic in the box, we could get a penalty or whatever. But yeah, if we don't put the ball in the box, we can't get those things. Again, if you don't buy the ticket, there ain't no way you're going to win the prize. If you don't buy the ticket, you can't win the prize, or however you want to put it. put it in different ways. But yeah, I was thinking of all those different quotes, and there's probably many others. And I love the Celtic learn all the different philosophies from around the world, from Brazil, Argentina, Germany, and wherever else. And it does worry me, like their manager. I think he's a German. I'm pretty sure. Something Roll, Danny Roll or whatever. I hope he doesn't go on a roll. But honestly, it's like I do worry, like if he looks like he knows what he's doing. To be honest with you, and the Germans are very organised and efficient, uber efficient. But moving on to number 33, I was going to say in point number 32, but I decided to say point number 33. On the subject of Germans, I wonder if Celtic could afford Jurgen Klopp, and if he's still got it. Now, he quit Liverpool, and he said he no longer wants to, there's too much pressure. So I suppose with Celtic, there is a lot of pressure to win games. He did come to Celtic with Liverpool for a charity match with the foundation, the Liverpool's and Celtic's foundation, when we played against them. And he did talks for our YouTube channel and things like that. But yeah, I wonder if he could cut it with Celtic. I mean, it is an easier level than the EPL, the English Premier League, but that's my fantasy, as they say. But yeah, I wonder if we could afford him as well. I wonder if we could afford him, and if we could bring him to go and work for us. I think he is working something with Red Bull, not as the top manager, but he's working in some sort of capacity with Red Bull. But I wonder if we could bring him to Celtic at some capacity, whether as an advisor or a manager or youth team manager. But it'd be interesting if he could be our first team manager. What he did with Liverpool, but I know Celtic fans and Celtic supporters are not the most patient, and I certainly aren't. But if you don't win trophies straight away, the supporters sometimes get a bit restless and all that kind of thing. But he does have a great track record. I know it took a bit of time with Liverpool, but again, it is a higher level. But he won things like he won leagues, Champions Leagues, or at least one Champions League. He got to finals with Liverpool. Obviously, winning them is better, but even just getting to finals is very difficult, and things like that. So I'm sure he could it in Scotland. It's a lot easier level. It's a lot more of an easier level in better English. So yeah, I wonder, out of the box idea out there, thinking I have no divergent and matter after all. But yeah, I'd love to know what Celtic supporters think. I hope they won't be too harsh now. But yeah, if Celtic could afford Andrew or should get Kloppy, could get Jurgen Klopp. Talking about, as I say, well-organised, efficient German managers, and with a Liverpool connection, which a lot of time Celtic have. Who knows how it could work, I'm sure. We seem to have a good relationship with north-western teams like Liverpool and even their rivals like United, but we don't seem to get on well with, and we even seem to get on well with Everton. We don't seem to get on well with north-eastern teams like Newcastle and Sunderland. I'm not sure about Middlesbrough, but yeah. Moving on, number 34. As I said before, I dream that we'll win at least a league, and hopefully this Premier Sports Cup or whatever, and hopefully the Scottish Cup. I guess we're in the final of the Premier Sports Cup, so hopefully we can make up for it. I'm pretty sure that's the one we lost last season, the final. I could be wrong; it might be the Scottish Cup actually, but yeah, I might have got mixed up. But anyway, I hope we can win that and many more, as many trophies as possible. As I say, I love. This probably sounds very obvious, but I would love for Rangers to lose all their games and for us to win all our games. I mean, maybe I don't know if it would get boring if we were winning all the time and it was easy. There's no challenges. I mean, like winning today in the manner we won, kind of makes it feel even better. But I don't know. I don't know if I would have just absolutely thrashed them like 7-0, or the fact that they were so close and then lost it. And so for them, it would be not bittersweet, but for them it would be just bitter, I guess. But they would probably be like, they were so close and yet so far, and that kind of thing. But I'd say I'd love for Celtic to win as many trophies as possible, basically. And really, in a way, every season I would love for Celtic to win a treble. But although part of me does think, as long as we're ahead of Rangers, the rankers, as I call them, that's all that matters. But then again, I suppose if we get complacent, it could all go downhill as well. It could be that they could start catching up. So I think we have to take advantage and win as much as we can to make sure that they can't catch up with us. Hopefully, we get loads of investment and that kind of thing. I talked before about how I'd love to use how our rivals sing "No Pope of Rome" and celebrate the Pope's death. I mean, to be fair, I know our supporters did, so I don't agree with it, but they did with the Queen, things like that. And maybe Rangers were trying to get revenge for rankers. But yeah, I think hopefully that could encourage Catholics who are not even into football, not even into soccer, to support Celtic, to get revenge on them. When I say them, those who should be named the rankers and whatever. I'll name them now, but anyway. So yeah, I love Catholics and non-WASPs, non-white homosexual Protestants, and POC especially, and people from the Far East to support Celtic. And maybe I thought something like Celtic in the Far East, which could be where we have tours of the Far East, and also we build a support base there, and also academies and things like work with countries like China, Japan. I know we've had quite a few players from Japan, but yeah, like China, Japan, Korea, maybe even Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia, and places like that, and all over Asia really. I'm terrible at geography, so I know the term the Far East because I used to say Oriental, but apparently that's a non-PC term. So you're not supposed to say Oriental, you're supposed to say Far Eastern or Asian, but to separate it from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and those sorts of places, it's the Far East, supposedly. But yeah, building a support base there and practicing there, and maybe even touring places like Saudi Arabia and places like that as well. So as I said, I would welcome investment from all over the world. Number 35. So yeah, as I say, that's my fantasy, and I'd love to see get as much investment and sponsorship as possible. And I talked before again about just read something I said a bit earlier. I mentioned about how I wanted to start from the worst case scenarios and then gradually get better and better. Excuse me. So ideally, I'd love for, if the world lasts long enough, I'd love for Celtic to continue to win trebles and eventually maybe even get up from about 120 trophies to 200 trophies or something. Maybe that's a bit too idealistic, but maybe 150 would be more realistic. I'm not sure, but I like to dream. You can probably tell if you've seen my other videos, but I suppose something I could have said in point number 21, I was thinking about afterwards in hindsight. I know certain numbers remind me of certain things, but Celtic connecting together with the diaspora, the Irish diaspora, and Scotch Irish people, and also even Celts generally all over the world. People of Celtic backgrounds all over the world. But anyway, could have, should have, I guess. But moving on, number 36, I talked before about the partnership with Italian football. One thing I forgot actually is normally for part 4, I talk about how I dream to achieve what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3, especially in part 1, or even parts 1, 2, and 3 generally. So I forgot to. That's what I normally like to cover. But yeah, achieving what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3. Well, achieving the things obviously that I want for Celtic to achieve, but obviously trying to avoid all the negative things, which I talked about, trying to get those out of the way. But yeah, I think there are improvements to be made. Thinking about the game technically yesterday, I think there are improvements to be made in terms of passing a bit sharper, getting the ball in the box quicker, basically be more direct and clinical. And when we were a goal ahead with a player extra, I think we should have kept the ball a bit better. Someone else at the pub, whatever. I think that's trying to combine those two words. But someone else at the pub or bar or whatever, again, whatever you want to call it, was saying about how we should just try and keep the ball and make them run. But I think we could have tried to play more in their half as well. And someone says one weakness of Martinelli, although you could say also his age and whether his tactics are a bit old school for the modern age, for the modern game, but is that he does try and play a bit too defensive. Moving on, number 37. As I hope those improvements will be made, and the club will have loads of 7-a-side pitches, which I talked about before, stadiums and academies and supports clubs all over the world and that kind of thing, and also connecting with with Celts all over the world, and maybe even getting Celts who are not into soccer or whatever you want to call it into such, and not working with FIFA and UEFA, which I talked about before. So getting more people, like maybe even more gypsies, migrants, refugees, and Celts from around the world, and others. And I'd love for the club to have more academies in Italy and practice with Italians and tour Italy and vice versa to improve that relationship I talked about between Italian football and Celtic, ideally, and practice together, especially at youth level, like at club and country level. So practicing with Italian youth teams, the national teams, and also club teams like AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Roma, and other Italian teams. One idea I have is like the No Pope of Rome Cup and things like that. A little joke tournament between Roma and Celtic, which I hope will benefit both clubs and help to practice together. And a sort of mock against our rivals who say like No Pope of Rome and that kind of thing, which is their choice, of course. But I dream that Celtic will capitalise on it. One thing I was thinking about this green cap, and again, I've not mentioned this before, but it has Portugal named on it, and I hope Jota will be back soon from Portugal, one of our Portuguese player, and maybe get more players from Portugal, places like that, Spain, Italy, Argentina, Germany, Brazil, and places like that maybe. Although I don't know if they are quite adaptive to the Scottish game, but connecting with Celts all over the world, as I say, even getting Celts, even those who are not into soccer, to get into soccer. And on that note, before I move on to point number 38, I'd say, again, Catholics who are not even into soccer, maybe getting more of those into soccer, and also even those who are not into soccer to support Celtic, even just for political reasons, or even just to get revenge on Rangers, so to say, they'll support Celtic, even if they're not into footy, whatever you call it, just to say because of what Rangers say about Catholics and that kind of thing. Number 38, I dream that the club's passion will take it further, and they'll continue to achieve success and continue to learn, develop, and grow, and getting more investment, sponsorship money, funding generally, funding from local councils, politicians, businesses, and whatnot, and POC to support Celtic and that kind of thing. Number 39, once again, I dream that neurodiverse people will be able to raise loads of money for Celtic and show our creativity and our strengths. As I'm thinking of neurodiversity for November. And finally, number 40, I have many other ideas I hope to cover ASAP, especially through this month and in the future. And I hope Celtic can achieve as much as possible, as I say. There's one or two ideas I'm going to leave, as I say, for later. I'm sure there's something else I want to say, but I completely forgot. But there's a few ideas I might cover later, including like questions to Celtic supporters and things like that. Well, I might just end. I suppose I could say it's important number 30, but there's a meme or whatever you call it. I think it would come under a meme where a lot of supporters have this, where it's like say Leeds have this with Man United and probably vice versa, but they have like a Leeds supporter, excuse the expression, but peeing on the Man United supporter, and on their kit and all that kind of thing. And I thought, what if Celtic have similar with Rangers, like, or even somewhere it's a meme where they poop on them, or excuse the expression. But other things I thought of, I probably shouldn't mention, but again, as usual. But like I think of like, excuse the expression, like adult movies or pornos where like a Celtic supporter converts a Rangers chick or whatever, and stuff like that. And anyway, as I say, top secret ideas, but now I've shared them potentially with people around the world. But anyway, on that note, I am out, and peace and love.